Hello, how are you? Sorry, Mary, that was to you. I should have said. I can hear you fine. Yeah, so we're. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I think that what you're doing, I'm so interested in, and I really want to talk about story time with Mary. But I think before that, it'd just be good to introduce yourself and say hi.
Perfect. Well, hello. I'm Mary. I'm a mother of two very young children. So they're two. One, well, she's actually going to be 3 next month. So that's going to be an interesting lockdown birthday, and a 4-year-old. And I work full time in asset management. So I've been working from home, trying to, homeschool a 2 and a 4-year-old, which has been interesting. And it's been a challenge, honestly. I won't lie, it's been a challenge because I'm not a teacher, as you can tell. But I realized that obviously at that really young age, it's really important to educate them and read to them and help them to recognize words and numbers and letters. And so that's really why I came up with Storytime with Mary, or how I came up with it, actually, just through reading to my own kids through this lockdown.
And so and we know each other from we kind of run in the same circles. That's kind of I think we met a couple of years ago now. It feels we kind of get together pre-lockdown. We get together kind of every few months or so, and that's been really nice. And that's why I'm just really thankful for you taking the time to do this today. But how so Storytime with Mary. So I've had a look. Website's fantastic. It's like really funky YouTube videos of you very dramatically reading some stories, which is really cool. And I guess so. At what point were you doing this for your kids and thought, I want to do this wider than that?
So actually, I've always been really animated in my reading and storytelling, and I always tell my kids these like crazy stories. I make them up when we're driving, and my husband actually said, you're so good at this. You really need to do this for other kids. They would really appreciate it. And I just never really, believed him.
Right. Okay.
And then during like this lockdown, and every day I'm reading to the kids at night and telling them a bedtime story and doing all the voices and all the sounds, and I just thought, I'm sure there's other parents, full-time working mums just like myself, who don't have the time to read a bedtime story to their kids. They're tired, they just want to go to bed. So I just thought, how lovely would it be just to read a story to somebody else's child, and it's not it's recorded, so you can log in whenever, and it's really aimed at preschool children, because the importance of at that age of them reading and seeing books and hearing those words spoken is so important. And there's so much research that suggests that it helps them with their their communication skills and their ability to think and their ability to reason, that I just thought it would be lovely to do that for other people's kids. So that's basically how it came about.
And the one, because I've seen a few people who've kind of done something similar, and one of the things that I've always wondered about is, because you get this advice of screen time before bed is bad, stories before bed are good. Do they kind of battle each other out, or how how does that work?
It does, but exactly, it does, because obviously it's screen time, but I feel like it's helpful screen time, because it's not just random screen time, and it's screen time that you can have with your children. There's a lot of books that are becoming, everything's going digital now, and we're moving more and more into a digital age. And just being in this lockdown, you know, I've been working from home for 3 months. No one would have ever thought that a whole asset management company with 9,000 employees can mobilize themselves to work from home.
Yeah.
And it's because of the power of technology. So screen time, we do need to limit it, but then we also need to embrace it, because that's how our children are now being educated. In this lockdown, you've had nothing but screen time educating your kids, because you know, teaching is online, everything is online, and it was just something to help to add to that for teachers. You know, I think we've all been educated to a good you know, a standard that's, you know, we can all read, we can all write. And it's just helpful to help other people to educate the kids. You know, there's only a limited number of teachers that can do this for us. And it's just, you know, let's just help each other to educate the kids. So I appreciate that, we don't want them, you know, on the screen all the time. And this is really targeted at young children to read with their parents. They may not have access to those books at home. So and they're only 5 minutes long. All of our books we try and keep them really, really short, just so that it's just a really short bedtime story.
And at the moment, are you just going through the books that you have in your house, or are you looking to get more books in, or maybe partnerships with publishers, or is it still very much you're doing something that you're passionate about, and that's where it's at?
It's been a passion. Exactly. It's been kind of a labor of love, and it's really, you know, that's why I started with Hey Dougie, because that's my daughter's favorite book. So we read it literally every night. And so I've been going through the books in my house at the moment, and I'm looking at how we can, you know, get partnerships with authors of children's books and, you know, publishers to see, you know, can we read your books? Because I think it's a lovely thing to do for little kids. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I can imagine as well, because I've talked about this actually not very much, but when Theo was little, he hated bedtime stories, like he would have a meltdown if I tried to read to him at bed. And, you know, given, you know, the nature of our jobs, we can find ourselves not in a very 9-to-5 pattern, and I could be leaving home before he's awake and come home when he's asleep. And so when I had those opportunities to what I saw as being, you know, a good dad of, right, I'm home for bedtime, let me read you a story, and he'd be going nuts. Like, yeah, it got to the point where I was kind of I'm just going to force read this story because at least it feels like I'm doing. And then my wife's like going, you need to stop. Like he's clearly not, there's something that he's, and this went on, I think he was probably about 4, maybe even nearly 5 before he was like, yeah, okay, I'm up for a story now. But I felt just like I was absolutely failing as a parent, because that's what you do. You know how important stories are and just how nice that bonding time is. But actually thinking about it, I think he would have been quite receptive to watching me and him watching you tell a story. So that might be a good, you know, I don't know. I know we're live on LinkedIn and Facebook, actually. If anyone else has come across this, because there's normally kind of shock and horror when I say that, you know, but if anyone does, it'd be interesting to see if anyone's gone through that and whether they found the more video, audio style therapeutic.
Well, this is the thing. I've got a 2-year-old, and she, you know, she wakes up in the morning. She's like, you know, she can just start speaking. She's like, "Where's the iPad?" So and you know, she's actually been watching me on YouTube reading books, and we do read at night. But yeah, she's similar. She just wants to get on and, you know, live her life. She doesn't want to sit down and listen to me reading. But she'll quite happily sit down and watch me reading on YouTube, which is amazing. And just in this lockdown, you know, we were a bit concerned about her. Her speech was a bit delayed, and it seemed that she wasn't speaking fast enough. But just in this lockdown, just speaking to her and reading to her, she's having conversations, and I'm just amazed. I'm literally amazed at the kind of stuff that she can say now. And whereas before, you know, you would say, "Hello, how are you?" and she wouldn't respond, but she knew how to say it. She just wouldn't respond. And now she's really responsive. And I just think that reading really, really helps children with their communication skills. And I've just noticed that in my own children.
Yeah, and so with the so okay, I'm getting a picture here. So you the passion for reading, the passion for storytelling, you're kind of doing it anyway.
Yeah,
So why not try and spread that love? But then
yeah,
how I know the kind of efforts of setting up a website, of creating content, of making sure it's fresh, putting it out there, and you're doing
yeah,
that as a mum of two young kids and a
yeah.
full-time job. So how are you finding that?
Oh, well, I've got my husband, actually. I have to give him all the credit for this. I can't,
Really?
I'm not even going to pretend that this is any of my doing. I just love to read books. So I just sit down and put the camera and I read a book.
Okay.
He's actually learned how to edit videos in the past couple of months.
Nice.
He's done. He's worked with a colleague. So he used to work in telecoms, and his role was kind of like managing content. So he has a fair idea of how to manage content, and he's the one that's been putting everything out on on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. I can't take any of that credit. All I've done is read a book. But I think it's been a really great partnership, and he's been really helpful.
That's brilliant, and you'll have to let me know what afterwards what sort of software that he's using, because it's especially the animation at the start of your videos. It's like something I'd see on Nick Jr. or something. It's
It's really good. It's amazing.
It's really cool.
I can't take any of the credit for any of this.
No, I love it.
But
I think it's
no, he's done a great job. He's done. So I was going to say, like, even the kind of reception that we've had to it, you're saying about the animation and about the content, it's been really well received, and so he's done a good job.
Brilliant. And I can see Katie here saying absolutely love the collaboration, which is great, and Carrie as well applauding the work that you're doing, which is fab. And the feedback is something that I was really interested in, because do you get a lot of feedback, either from, I mean, the kids would be quite interesting, but more the parents, or what's the response been like?
It's been amazing. So I've been getting pictures of parents sitting down with their kids watching Storytime with Mary, and it's been from all over the world. We've had people in Cameroon and Mexico, and just like completely, and it's been absolutely amazing, honestly. So, and we've had this amazing feedback. So obviously I'm from Ghana, well, not obviously, but I am.
Okay.
And I was living there up until 2017.
Okay.
And I really wanted to, I went there in 2011, so I was working out there for 6 years. And I really wanted to also connect with kids in Ghana as well, and try and get hold of some local Ghanaian books as well. And I've had amazing response. I was on primetime TV in Ghana talking about Storytime with Mary just last week. So,
oh my goodness.
So GBC, which is Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, I've been on 3 different shows doing interviews just about this, and just about getting kids to read and how we can support, because over there their education has been more kind of bricks and mortar, and they're now trying to embrace getting people into digital education. And with this lockdown for the past 3 months, and they've also had a lockdown, schools have been closed just like they have here, and kids have just been at home. So it's been so well received, and actually the response has been phenomenal from parents, just sending pictures, which is fantastic. So obviously, as a mum of young kids, it's just lovely to see that.
And so where do you is it to, because how long have you been doing this for again? Is it since February? Have I made that up?
Since March.
Okay.
So it's
wow.
Since March. No, is that a lie? Probably since sorry, the days have all rolled into one. It's like
not,
day.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's just been a month. It's been a month now since we started doing this. Yeah, so it's just about 4 weeks. Yeah.
Brilliant. And are you? Because I had a little look again on your website earlier, and it seems that they're coming up quite frequently. I don't think it's quite one a day, but it's definitely several a week. Is that fair?
We post it on Wednesdays and Saturdays. and
Okay.
it's 2 a week because obviously I don't have an endless supply of books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or an endless supply of time. You know, I'm working full time, so I wanted to do something that was sustainable and I could, you know, keep it up. And I thought 2 a week was reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but even that, because like you say, although I am now starting to feel for your husband, because yeah, if you you've got the 5 or 10 minute bit and then ship it off to get packaged up and distributed. Yeah.
Yeah.
How, I mean, how
he's doing a great job.
I was going to say, how is he as involved with it, I guess, emotionally as you, or is it just something different for him to, you know, just enjoy?
I think he absolutely loves it. So
Does he?
He's completely passionate about this. And, you know, sometime yesterday I was there, he was like, are you not going to do a recording? Are you not going to read? Like, he's really, really passionate about it. So I think it's great. It's really good. I think it's been a really good partnership. And I think with his experience and my animated reading, it's been a really good partnership. Yeah, he does have the hard bit though of packaging everything up and editing videos, but he loves it, so that's great.
Yeah, and I think it's funny, isn't it? Because with I remember talking about the whole career dad thing at work with my bosses actually, and saying, look, I'm actually, one thing that I'm really wasn't aware of is all the skills that I'm learning that I can bring in. It's, you know, it's like, you know, now pretty au fait with video editing. Now I'm starting to get to grips with digital media ads, you know, messing around with kind of Facebook ads, Instagram story ads, just things that I just wouldn't be doing as part of my normal day job, but understanding that wider spectrum, which, you know, I think one, it's great because it's something that, you know, like what you're doing, something that you're passionate about and you enjoy, but actually there is this real crossover between, you know, real work and our own careers, right?
Definitely. And I think obviously working in digital marketing is just it's such a natural fit, and you can really take away a lot of the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis. It's so applicable outside of that as well. And even just the software that we're using, it's a software that's very close to our hearts and how we met.
Yes.
So it's you know, you learn so much and you're able to obviously pass on that knowledge, and it's been really, really, really well received, and I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Where do you okay, there's two parts to this question, I think. When you started this, did you have any, I know I'm talking about a month ago, but did you have any visions of what it might grow into? And then the second part of the question, now that you're in it, do you also have any kind of visions of what it may grow into?
So yeah, initially, honestly, I didn't. I just thought it was just a lovely thing to do, to just you know, read some books to some kids, and I think I joined so within my company I joined the CR committee. And one of the things they were talking about was, you know, people that didn't have access to books to read to children, and they wanted us to do some, you know, live reading to children. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be lovely to just, you know, do something like that for kids? And that was basically, you know, my initial thought. But then my husband was like, you really need to do this. But I didn't have any thinking around where it could go. And still now, it's, you know, it's still so new, and it's something that you know, we just started doing a month ago. And you know, we're seeing, you know, more and more subscribers. You know, in total on YouTube, I think we've got about 10 videos out, and we've had over 2,000 views of those videos already. So it's really it's been far better received than I expected it to be. I didn't really expect, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I just thought I was going to share it with some friends and say, hey, you know, you've got young kids, you know, get them to like read along. And we've got you know, it's been really well received. I honestly can't say I've never done anything like this before, but I think it's the lockdown has also kind of brought out passions in people and brought out creativity that you didn't even know that you had until you've been forced to stay at home for 3 months.
No, exactly. And I think it makes, you know, it's no secret, I've always been a big fan of the fluidity of work, and, you know, the whole 9 to 5 thing doesn't really work for me. And I think what this has actually enabled to do, well, even this, right? This is in the middle of the afternoon and we're having a chat around reading kids' stories. Like that it wouldn't have been impossible pre-lockdown, but it would have been a lot harder than it is now. And I think actually, even this, you just even hearing you talk now is giving me so much energy, because last night was terrible. I went to bed late. My daughter was up at 2 a.m. She's teething. I was walking around the living room. So I've had about 4 hours sleep. And I was like, I've just been shooting coffees and thinking I'm just a mess. And then we start talking and I'm like, oh my God, this is so excited. And it's like, now when this ends, I'm going to go back to work with a lot more energy and passion than I had an hour ago. And I think that's really, I hope once lockdown ends, whatever that looks like, I hope that stays.
Yeah, no, I agree. Honestly, I think in just in the past few months, I've seen, initially I was depressed. I was thinking, this just can't be my life.
Yeah,
be at home
I hear
24/7, and with such young kids, and you have to, stop and feed them and make sure they're okay and they're not, throwing cold water over themselves. But as it went on, I realized, I think I started to appreciate the kind of time that I had to spend with my kids now. Before, working 9 to 5, I would leave home because I was dropping them to my mum's house at 7 o'clock in the morning before I got on the train to Liverpool Street. So I was really rushing in and out and didn't really have that quality time. But now we're able to paint. We're able to make meringues, even though they burnt. But we can do stuff together and we can tell stories together. And I think it's just changed my way of life and my way of thinking going forward, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I completely get that. I think that I think in days where I was working in London, I just wouldn't see the kids before I left home. Yeah. So that's fine. The days that I was in Northampton, I generally tried not to have meetings until 9:30 so that I could take the kids, well, only Theo, take him to school. There wasn't this kind of mad rush. But having said that, there was still a mad, it was still, you need to get your shoes. And he's not really a kid that likes, he doesn't like surprises, even though it's not a surprise that you leave school for the same time every day. He has to have a lot of signaling, 5 minutes till this, 2 minutes till this. And it was always just a mad rush. And actually now there is no mad rush. And I think some of the things that I've had to let go of, some days he is in his jammers until kind of 2 p.m. and I have to go, sometimes that's all right. And it's more, I think it's more on me than it is on him. But I think that, again, when I used to work from home, I'd never go and, do a shop at 10:30 in the morning. I might go for a run or something, but I wouldn't go. And I'm like, this whole thing can be rethought. Like I could shop a lot more locally, a lot more ethically, a lot more, supporting local businesses because I actually have the time to do those things. And it's, it really made me rethink.
I've done my first online shop, like grocery shopping today, like ever. Okay. This is the first time I've ever done it in my life. Okay. Because actually I'm tired of queuing outside the supermarket. But it's just like the way of life is just changing, and I realized that this is amazing. You can take a week to like put stuff in your basket. So it really changes your way of thinking and just the way your way of life really.
But and then even not to get all kind of like digital nerdy, but because we've been doing online shopping for a few years now. But the thing that I missed when I started was those, you're queuing up at the till and there's the promo, you need to buy this thing, or just the kind of the serendipitous. So I've seen tacos. We're going to make Mexican one. You kind of lose that because it's very I'm online, I'm shopping. But then I'm like, I think some online supermarkets are kind of better than others, but I'm going to say excited. I'm excited for when I'm browsing something and then kind of suggestions come up based on either thing. Because I don't know. I get that I'm not normal in this sense, but I'll have all cookies switched on. I'll have market that, if you make it relevant to me, market the hell out of me. Like I'm good for that. And so I'm like, I want to see what kind of happens in that space.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And honestly, like I said, I hadn't done online shopping before because I really like going to the supermarket. But for the third month of going to stand outside in a long queue waiting, I was just like, you know what, let me try this online thing. It's really changed my life.
Well, I don't know whether you found this, because one of my friends who doesn't have kids thinks that this is just like he thinks that it's an excuse, but he used to say to me, oh, what are you doing on kind of Saturday? And I'd say, oh, the food shop. And he's like, but afterwards, and I'm like, mate, that's that's an event. That's half a day. And so I don't know, was that the same for you? Like, especially with two kids? Yeah,
that was me on a Saturday. I'll do the food shop and I'll come in and put it away. That was it. That was my whole life, and it was really exciting, actually.
And then you might think, ooh. Yeah, Costa's looking a bit quiet. Maybe we'll get a coffee while we're out as well.
Exactly. We'll just go to the soft play, which we can't do anymore.
Wow, This is it. But I tell you, on the I didn't realize how much time that I could save from just online shopping. It has been a game changer.
Yes, honestly, this is the first week I've done it, and it's literally changed my life. And so it really has. Last night I was online looking for delivery slots or collection. I was thinking, I don't need to go on queue. I don't need to walk around the supermarket for an hour and a half. I can just have somebody else pick it out and bring it to me. This is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So, brilliant. It's brilliant. So just segueing back to story time with Mary. So we were talking about the books, and if are you kind of accepting books? Do you have, as part of what I haven't looked at, is there part of your website that's around books that you're interested in receiving, or is it kind of you don't want to receive any because you're going to work directly with publishers or houses, or is it that you want to receive anything and everything?
So I actually haven't gone that far yet. So we started reading the books that we have, and I've been buying more books for my children and reading them to them, and also to the kids online. But I think going forward I do need to have a plan around how we're going to make this sustainable and get more books. So I am if there are publishers or authors of children's books, just people that have just written their first children's book, I'd love to receive it and love to read it out, because I think it's also about supporting people that are trying to get out there as well, and getting as it grows and you get more subscribers, you're able to get that out to other children and to people that probably wouldn't have even known about that book or heard about it or even have access to it. So I just think it's I'm completely open. We haven't taken it that far yet.
Okay, I love that. I know I'm connected to a few kind of authorship circles as well, so I'll make sure that they. I think that could be pretty cool. And if someone's watching this now and thinks I've got a book, do you want them to get in contact with you just by LinkedIn?
We have so LinkedIn, or we've on the website. So we have a website, storytimewithmary.online. And you can drop it, if you go on there's a contact us, you can just drop us an email or info@storytimewithmary.online. So, just get in touch if you've got a book that you want to, donate to a worthy cause.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's such a cool concept. And I think, like you say, it's bringing stories either to kids that might not have stories, or even if the kids do have stories, it's bringing a wide range of different books to them, and
new books and new stories.
Exactly. And I think that you and I'll both attest to the power of storytelling. I'm very conscious that I don't want to be one of those parents that says, this thing's really good for kids because later in life, it's kind of like, music's really good for kids because it helps with maths and cognitive, and it's like, well, actually it's just fun, so but I think the power of storytelling is just paramount for
it's so important.
And I think it's a really nice medium to get that message across.
Yeah, yeah. I'm honestly, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving that we've got so much great engagement with kids as well, because
Yeah.
you know, like you said, like some of these kids, they don't even have access to books, or
Yeah.
if they do, they don't have access to those books. So it's just you know, expanding that for the kids as well.
Love it. That's really cool. Well, look, thank you so much for spending some time this afternoon talking about story time with Mary. And
great, thanks for having me.
No, not at all. And I'll make sure to update this video so it has the links to the website as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dan. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Get back to work.
Get back to work with all this renewed energy.
I know. Awesome.
Thanks, Mary.
You. All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye.